This is take two, and now everything works. Well,
Yep.
man, it has been a
There we go.
long week. That is just the cherry on top. False start to episode 19 of the Inven Global Podcast. My name is Nick D'Orazio, Director of Corporate Strategy at Inven Global, and I'm once again joined by my co-host, Eric Gindele. How are you doing, Eric?
What's up, Nick? How's it going? I feel like 10 pounds of hair has loosely fallen off my face. So
Yes, I'm sure
good.
our longtime viewers can tell. Eric is much beard lighter, and you know what? I think I think it looks great, Eric. Good for you.
Thank you. Yeah.
As
I
for
like to switch it up every
yeah,
so
and
often.
as for how I'm doing, you know what? Not too good, actually. So obviously the state of the country now is in complete disarray, right? It is absolutely heartbreaking to see so much violence and so much anger, but at the same time, I think it's necessary. This country has had a history of protest, and when the black community has gone on for so long without feeling like they're being heard, without feeling like they can come to the police for safety, this type of stuff, it's to be expected. So I'm actually very proud to be working with Inven Global. We've made our stance very, very clear very early on, and we have all sorts of really what we think will be helpful and insightful things planned in the future. We really, really do feel it is our necessary duty as esports industry leaders and gamers to stick up for our fellow gamers, regardless of their skin color. And in this case, it's very clear that the black community feels as if, well, not feels, the black community knows as if they have been disregarded by many, many power structures in the U.S. So it's been a tough week, I guess. What I've been saying, I've been worried about some of
Yeah.
my family. I've been worried about my family in New York. I've been worried about my friends. It's just been tough.
Yeah, it's crazy everywhere. But if this takes for change to actually happen, I'm all for it. So
Yeah, and so shout outs with love to all of our listeners. What we're going to do now is do what we always do: talk fun stuff, talk goofy stuff. But as we do every single podcast, we're going to start talking about what we're playing. So, Eric, what have you been playing? What games have you been playing? Despite the political uproar, despite the state of the country, despite the state of police brutality, what have you been playing, Eric?
I've been playing Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition on the Switch.
Definitive.
Yeah,
What,
yeah, it's
what is with these definitive editions?
yeah, it is. It's a word that's thrown around uh, a lot, and there isn't like a clear definition of like what you're necessarily getting out of the game. If it's like the definitive edition, the definitive edition could be like, oh, all the DLC comes with this edition, or like, oh, it's just like a PS3 game that's on the PS4 now. But with this, it's a Wii game. It was originally a Wii game, and they've like completely redone all the graphics. They've done like UI overhauls, just like making the game better. Two of my best friends, like it's both of their favorite game of all time. So
Really?
yeah, I tried it back in the day, but it just like it was a Wii game. But even for a Wii game, it looked like trash. It looked like garbage.
Well, I think that's really what they mean by definitive edition. I think
Yeah,
I think definitive means, all right, maybe the first time we made this, we had some limitations. We had
it was something.
we were rushed. I mean, part of the worst parts about the modern game industry is that these games are rushed out now, right? You can pretty much read any single post-mortem dev interview. You can hear about even some of my favorite games. These games are made with a very, very, very strict timetable. And like, yes, that was pretty much always the case. Not always back in those early glory days of the 90s, right? Games were really made with a sense of like artistic integrity. So maybe that's what they mean
Yep.
by definitive, right?
Well, yeah, they didn't have a choice back then.
Yeah.
If a game get broken, that was it. That's just how it was gonna. No do-overs, no patches, no. I mean,
Yeah.
there's no there's just like too many safe nowadays. So,
E- Eric, you're lagging a bit. my boy, but I think it's
Oh, sorry.
clearing up just fine. Actually, I was reading recently that the amount of attention that the developers of old would put on a memory usage, like really, really smart memory usage, because they only had like a couple bits to work with, right? You know, they had like 16 bits, they had like 32 bits. So they would be so meticulous in the way that they saved space. And I think that like style of like meticulous nature, I think that drew a certain type of game designer, right? One that was trying to do a lot with a little. And you know, we all know, be it film and be it any medium, you know, when you have a constraints, I think sometimes that brings out the most artistic sides of people, that brings out the best work. And like nowadays, I think the gaming industry is the opposite of constraints. It's like they expect us to download, you know, 15 gigs worth of things for a huge game, and you know, like the definitive version allows them to be even more. And you know what? I've recently been burned by a definitive edition with Dragon Quest, but I won't even get into that. So you've been playing a Xenoblades, and it's better than the Wii, right?
Oh, it's way better. I mean, the biggest problems that I had with the original game when I was playing through, I must have put like hours into it when I first gave it a shot, but
Yeah.
it looked like ass. Everything about it looked like ass. I can't even like describe how bad it looked. Like, I
Really?
don't know.
I mean,
You could tell that.
I mean, can I find this somewhere? I gotta find this somewhere.
Oh no, totally. Just like look up
What is
Xenoblade
Xenoblade
Chronicles, like Wii to Switch,
Wii.
like comparison or something, and you'll totally see what I'm saying. But
I will. Oh my
another
god, I
problem was
see
that-
it. That is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
It's rough. I think it started development as like a GameCube game or like a PS2 game or something, and then
Yeah.
it got like ported up to the Wii, which was
Yeah.
also not like very.
Alright, guys, check this out. Ooh,
I
that
mean,
is.
right now
rough.
it looks great. It's,
So this is the nice one.
it's meeting the
This is the.
yes, yeah. Oh my
Yikes.
god. Ugh, God. Look
Yeah,
at
it's not good.
that. Look at that.
It's not good. So this is dialogue,
Rough.
cinematic. We got all dialogue, cinematic.
To-
Wow.
It's like to a point where you could see why it would be like distracting, right?
Yeah. Like some of these are pretty bad. It's distractingly
True.
bad. Yeah. The Switch one is clearly better. Well, good for
Yeah.
you. You know what? You got
And there's like
for the
it's
Wii.
a game that has like a million side quests and stuff, and
Yeah.
in the original game there's a very poor like tracking system. Like the objective was, but not where you could get like the materials that you needed or anything. There was like a little exclamation point above like stuff that you found in the overworld, so you literally had to just like look up a guide for every single side mission that you wanted, so you weren't like wasting your time just running around aimlessly. But now there's like path tracking, there's like little indicators of like what you're supposed to be collecting.
Mhm.
You get notifications, and yeah, I hear like at the point that I stopped in the original game, I heard that it gets like way better after that, so I'm excited to see where it goes.
Okay, this is what I wanted to check. So Shulk is age 18 per lore, right? Per lore, our boy's 18. Look at this. Look at this character right here. This does not look like an 18-year-old. This looks like some beach bum 32-year-old. He does not look like a young boy. Actually, you know what? Just seeing the screenshots of this, to be honest, I only know Shulk from Smash. But you've kind of got me interested. So do you think the Switch one's good? You think I'd like it?
Oh yeah, no, you should actually definitely play it. The combat system is super interesting too. So basically, you have like this. It's basically like it operates on like World of Warcraftian like MMO kind of combat style.
Oh, that's fun.
Where you have like cooldowns and stuff on all of your moves.
So is it
but,
difficult?
No, it's really not that hard yet. But yeah, their biggest thing is like status. Like conditions that you put onto your enemy. Like first
Like
you have to
bleed?
you have to daze them and then topple them and like then send them, and they have like all these chain attacks that let you do that like in a way where you're like switching between your characters, which is super cool. And also like positioning is like a huge thing.
Okay.
Like for backstab, if you're behind the character, you get like bonus damage, or you
Oh,
inflict
nice.
like different ailments if you're able to like attack from the sides and stuff. It's really cool. It's really really engaging
Well,
stuff. So.
this podcast is now sponsored by Xenoblade, so I'll definitely check it out. I guess, dang, what have I been playing? I've actually been playing a game that's way out of my normal genre, right? Way out of my... Let me show you this game. I've been playing a gacha game called Exo Heroes. Look at this game. Absolutely gorgeous, right? You got some pretty nice art. It's rather anime. I've been making some content for the devs, really trying to understand the strategy of the game, making tier lists, things like that. That's part of the fun stuff that we can do at Inven Global. Sometimes we get to take a game and really, really master it. So I'm trying to get really good at this game. The PvP is interesting. It's my first real gacha game that I really dived into, so it's an interesting game. I would say the best part about it is the characters, but I'll be honest, it's a new genre for me. So I'm trying not to get too hooked, too addicted, because these games, I mean, they're whale games, right? Like if you play, you can spend hundreds of dollars on these games. Yeah, that's really crazy. I've also been playing Heroes of the Storm. It's still a great game. I still love it. Heroes of the Storm got a new patch, so yeah.
And dude, you gotta get back into the Brawl Stars.
Brawl Stars, yeah, man, Brawl Stars. It is true, dude. Brawl Stars is good. It's a pretty solid, like, esports light game. Like, Brawl Stars is the equivalent of like Flappy Bird esports, right? Like, it's just sometimes so simple and so fun that I have a good time with it. Oh, Eric, my boy, it looks like you've lagged out again, but that's okay. I will give Eric some time to get back, but before he does, let's start off with our first story of the day. This is now a solo podcast until Eric's internet gets better. So, Valorant has launched this week. It launched actually without a competitive mode, which I actually think is not the worst idea. And there's a lot of interesting feedback on it. For one, the Metacritic scores haven't been very good. And I think part of that is because, let's face it, Valorant is a CSGO, right? And yet it is advertised as if it was Overwatch. It was advertised as if it's like, really, really clean characters, that whole thing. So it doesn't surprise me. Oh, look, yep, looks like he's officially left the call. Oh, well, Eric, you will be missed. RIP. Anyways, Valorant has brutal, punishing gameplay. Anyone who's played knows this. And I think that is a big, big reason for this. Look at this. 268 a negative, 203 positive. So I think there's two ways to look at this. One, Valorant game. Hey, he's back. Oh, you're muted right now. And he's back. So
yeah, sorry about that.
Eric, you have no idea. I was talking about Valorant. What I was saying is, I guess I'm recap. I'm looking at these Valorant Metacritic scores, right? We got 268 negative, 203 positive. So there's two ways to look at this, I think. There's one in that, the game is bad. Like, people don't like it. Riot, you're in trouble. But then there's the other way of looking at it, that Valorant gameplay is so tight. It's so clean. It's such a clear CSGO. If you love CS, if you love competitive shooters, you love this game. That we're seeing this binary. You either love it or hate it. And when it comes to esports and really, really good video games, especially multiplayer games, I actually think that's kind of a good place to be, right? If the gameplay is so general that everyone loves it, maybe it can't ever really truly be like a masterpiece type game, right? What do you think about it? Because you've played Valorant.
Yeah, I played Valorant when I was in beta for a bit. I think there's just certain expectations with free-to-play games in general. You know, I think there needs to be like a very, very low bar of entry, but like a very high skill ceiling. There just needs to be like those two sides of the coin where you can because that's how they get you in. That's the whole free-to-play model, right? Is like once you're hooked, you're like, I'm gonna start playing this game some more. I might as well spend some money or something. So from just the time of us doing this, the
like reviews have gotten in more. It's like literally a 50-50.
It's like
That's crazy.
But yeah, I don't know. I can't imagine like if CS:GO was, I don't know, if CS:GO was free, you think it would like face this kind of backlash, or is it because like this is just Riot's new baby? It's maybe it's just so different from like what they're doing with League and like the whole format of that.
Yeah. See,
I don't know. There's a lot of elements.
But so many of these reviews are 0. It's like, come on. I don't think.
I know.
Like,
yeah.
like you know, like the other side of the coin, or I guess the third side of the coin, is I do think there's a point in which game reviews, in particular, and game scores in particular, have become like, it's not a real accurate assessment. It's just like, if you don't like anything about the release or the company, or if you, it's like a form of cancel culture. People were saying, no, I'm gonna like vote with my score and vote 0. Like, come on, this game does not deserve a 0. This game's like a good game. It's crazy to compare this to a game that actually deserves a 0.
Nothing grinds my gears more, because I'm like super OCD about, you know, logging my games and rating my games and keeping track of everything that's going on. I use this site called My Video Game List, and it's basically like a giant database where you can make a list and like rate all your games for people to see. And sometimes I'm just like scrolling through users and stuff, and nothing bothers me more than going through lists and seeing like 0 out of 10,
nothing
and,
but
like, 10 out of 10, and there's like nothing in between.
That's
like
rough.
It's either a masterpiece or it's unredeemable garbage. So I don't know. I don't get people like that.
Media cannot be played. What? I just wanted to play. Oh well. Anyways, so
I mean,
yeah,
I'll say that I'm not like a giant Valorant fan. There's no way anywhere near close to a 0. Not even like
for sure.
Like a 5.
Yeah, it's a good game. I actively like the game. I think it's fun, but I think it's fun because I like Counter-Strike. So with the launch, they also came out with a new map mode. They came out with a new agent. Arena has the ability to self-heal and make herself invulnerable, which I think, to be honest, like I can't believe they're pushing abilities that far. Like, one of the big criticisms is that the devs said that abilities would only be like utility, but these abilities are 100% combat's ability. She can self-heal, make herself invulnerable, and her ultimate gives her faster firing and faster reload speed and reduced recoil. So like, she's just better than you. Like, when she does her ultimate, she will just like out shoot you in a firefight. So
they're like this weird middle ground where, you know, there's no rules like Overwatch or anything where you clearly have like tank abilities and damage abilities and healing abilities. Like, it's just kind of like a mixed bag of what you're gonna get. Everything like that. So I don't know. And it's weird because you can only have like one agent per like match or something, right? Like on your team. Yeah,
and I just realized now that I think I'm using the wrong mic. Oh my god, my HyperX mic sponsored by HyperX. We're getting the audio from my webcam. I'm so sorry, HyperX. Please don't cancel the podcast. We love you. But no,
you can automatically tell the quality just got way better. So I feel like that's
really? That's good.
A pretty solid commercial for the HyperX mic. So
good. I hope so. Though there is to say that her character is designed to be somewhat snowbally, right? Like, she can only get these heals once she gets kills, and it's like, I get it, but the game is definitely becoming more MOBA-esque. Like, right? Like, when you add these heroes that are like it's not a gimmick, but like it kind of is, because now like when you play as Reyna, you are encouraged to maybe take riskier fights to get kills, rather than just play like solid CS:GO fundamentals, rather than just like, I don't know, play how you would if you didn't have abilities. So I think that's one of the interesting things too. Kind of a joke that me and all of my friends say when we play this game is that abilities are traps. Like, every time you try to use an ability, you usually just get killed. Because like, if you don't know how to like use them well, when you first play this game, you're always using abilities. You're like using abilities in the middle of firefights, or you're like using abilities when you're about to turn corners, right? It's just definitely different than Overwatch, in which you like use abilities all the time. So this hero is, I think, more on the like Overwatch MOBA-esque side. It is also important to note, as well as these Metacritic scores not being very good, Valorant viewership has also dropped significantly. It peaked at 1.7 million viewers during the beta, and now it averages to only 40,000. So that's like insane. First, I think it speaks to two things. One, they're like this like idea of having the drops enabled was huge. Like drops enabled is why they were able to get 1.7 million viewers peaked. And you really have to think then how many people were watching the game because they liked it, and how many people were watching the game because FOMO. They just wanted to try the game, right? So here's some other quotes. We have Dr. Disrespect, notable streamer and FPS pundit, so to speak. He always has an opinion on when these new games come out. He says the game is hard to watch. He encourages that Riot may need to ensure that there is a strong future for the playership and viewership, especially as they move forward with esports. And you know what? I think that's some real criticism. I do think the game is hard to watch, simply because like it's slow, it's pacing, right? It's not nearly as exciting to watch. Like for example, I would love to watch Dr. Disrespect play Apex Legends or play any number of battle royale games, right? It really lends to these players' ability to pop off. But when you're watching someone play Valorant, it's kind of like the same match over and over again. It's the same positions over and over again. You know, it's the same sight lines you watch. And like, don't get me wrong, it's thrilling to play. I really do enjoy to play the game. But I do agree with Dr. Disrespect that it's hard to watch. What do you think, Eric? Have you ever tried to watch a stream like this?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely an audience for this kind of game. I mean, just look at CS:GO's, popularity over the years. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how Riot handles adding new characters to this and everything. I know with FPS games, especially, you can get into a slippery slope where you're introducing characters with like, you always have to like one-up yourself with how interesting you're making them.
Yeah.
And that can kind of lead down a road where you're like, oh, well, now this character is obviously way better than anyone else in the game. How are we going to fix this? Are you going to change everybody else? Or are you just going to like keep like fixing this hero until they're good? But
dude, that's power creep, man. That's power creep, and it's it has been a stable problem with these type of games forever, because like I think it's safe to say we're already seeing it with Reyna. I had to look at her name because there's the other thing too. Have you heard the criticism? This is essentially Sombra from Overwatch. Like,
yes, I have. Yeah,
like,
I mean, you can just see it in the aesthetic.
Yeah,
not only like the utility.
Yeah, she's like, I mean, she has like the same accent, pretty much the same like kind of demeanor, in which she's all like saucy and mean, and then she also has like purple flares and everything. Like, what? That's kind of
pretty spot
crazy.
On.
Very spot on. There must be some sort of like really boring corporate like market research that says, oh yes, you have to add your purple Latina characters, give them a thick accent, and just watch the fanships happen. Absolutely crazy. So you know what? I'm honestly probably going to give Valorant another shot. I do like the fact that there are game modes that shorten the amount of play. I think some of the good things of the launches are the different game modes. So yeah, we'll keep covering Valorant. I know that there's still drummings and like interest of the esports scene, but I think people have calmed down a bit.
And I know that viewership on Twitch had been, pretty. It took like a pretty dramatic dip in audience numbers compared to like when they broke records and stuff. April or whenever they did that. But yeah, we'll see. I saw that it got like a huge bump just by having the official release date and everything. But I don't know if it's gonna hang with like CS:GO, that audience, or if
Yeah.
people aren't watching League of Legends, they're going to watch Valorant. Is there really that much of an overlay and
Hmm.
sustainability for these players? So
By the way,
we'll see.
it is now perfectly matched. It is
Is it?
468 positive, 468 negative. Wow. Perfectly
Yeah.
balanced like all things should be. In other news, which is exciting news for the Inven Global family, we
Yeah.
have a very exciting partnership. So, Inven Global, your friend in the esports industry, your place for esports news, has partnered with E1 Fantasy. So, what is E1 a fantasy? Well, Eric, have you ever played a fantasy sports?
No, I haven't.
Well,
Never have.
me neither. And that's the point. What if there were fantasy esports? What if there were things in which esports fans could do to also show their love of games? Thanks to HyperX, our sponsors, you can join our very own Inven Global Fantasy League based on League of Legends. I believe it's the LEC and the LCS, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what they have right now.
And we are giving a weekly prizes based on where you get once the summer split starts. So if you're first place for the week, bam, you get a HyperX headset. Second place gets a HyperX mouse. Third place gets these HyperX little earbuds. But that's not all. There's also grand prizes. So if you are first after the entire league's done, after the entire summer split is over, if you have the most points, you get the ultimate bundle, which is the microphone, the headset, the keyboard, the mouse, all of that good stuff. Second place gets a slightly less cool version of that, and third place, just forget about it. If you get third place, you've lost, right? Because you don't get the mic, you don't get the cool stuff. I know, but I'm just saying, I want you guys to win. So, how do you join? Go over to invenglobal.com, and there's this awesome little button. Let me show you. There's also a little button that says LOL a Fantasy that you cannot see. Let me change that. Bam. There's this awesome little button. They say LOL Fantasy. Click that, and you are now on our fantasy page. This whereas you can join the private leaderboards, you can check out rules and scoring, and you can also read tons of content to get you introduced to esports fantasy. So if you want to know the best lineup strategies, if you want to know how scoring works, how just esports one fantasy works, now is the time you can do it. So, Eric, do you think I am done with the positive news about how people can join our esports fantasy league?
Judging by your tone and demeanor, I'm assuming no.
Of course not. Part of the great thing that we're giving to Inven Global readers is that you can join this for free. This is a $10 value. Usually it costs $10 to play because you get access to all of their software and all their cool stuff that allows us to play fantasy. But if you sign up right on this little button through Inven Global, you get it for free. So just complete all of the steps here. You can sign up, and all you got to do is follow us on Twitter, follow us on Discord, which are things you should already be doing because we put out great content. Check it out all here, invenglobal.com/fantasy. If you're into League of Legends, if you're into esports fantasy, and even if you're not, now is the time to start. So, man, we have been hard at work on this promotion, and I'm so glad to finally be able to show it, to finally be able to share it with you guys.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting into this. It seems cool.
Yeah.
Seems definitely more in my wheelhouse than fantasy football or whatever like that. So
Exactly.
yeah, I'm excited.
And I'll be honest, I've already made my team. I've already drafted my team, in which Eric, he criticized heavily. Apparently, I picked a player that is extremely cheap. I think his salary is like $50,000, and he is the captain of my team. And you know what?
Sure is.
Sure, you may say, Nick, you have all of this money left over. You don't even understand the first basis of fantasy. What are you doing? That may all be true. But I believed in the heart of my pick. I looked at that lineup of players, and I stuck to my gut. You watch, I will be first. And there will be so much illusion. I will win this prize. How great would that be if my picks, that some may say makes no sense, how great would it be if my picks won this?
Yeah, who's your captain again? What's his name? Believe or something?
Yeah. And you know what? His name was Forgive. I think.
Forgive, yeah.
I think. And you know what? You're making me look real bad because I don't even know the name of the captain of my team, all right? Listen, I've said it many times on this podcast. League of Legends isn't exactly my wheelhouse. I'm an absolute noob at it. I'm more of a Dota guy. But this is my way in which I can learn and I can stop getting made fun of by the rest of the Inven Global editorial team that are League of Legends masters.
All I did was make an observation that, you know, you have a set amount of money that you could spend on players.
Yeah.
And to have like $180,000 left.
It's because I want to keep that.
I don't think you get any.
I know.
I don't think you get any.
But I'm a lore player.
Money,
I'm a lore player. I'm playing under the fantasy that I am a corrupt esports org owner. So I'm lying to all of the players about salary caps and all that. And they don't know that I'm skimming that 180,000 right off the top. That's fun for me. See, esports fantasy. I'm a storyteller by nature, Eric.
It's getting a little too real.
Yeah, right. You know me, the esports big bucks. That is the funniest joke I've maybe said on this podcast. So, anyways, check it out. invenglobal.com/fantasy. We're really excited about it. But why are we talking about news that doesn't matter? Let's get to the stuff that does matter. All right.
Yeah.
Goosebumps.
Oh, you see them? I was gonna do a whole thing. But
No, come on, do it. No, come on, do it.
it's like, oh, I got.
What do you got?
happening.
Goosebumps.
Ooh,
So here's the thing, guys.
The anticipation.
Goosebumps Dead of the Night was just announced for PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. Now, I haven't seen this trailer. I've been told that we should watch it live without having seen it, so I'm just going to watch the trailer right now. Let's check it out.
All right, yeah. So pause like 2 seconds in, and I want to hear your honest
Dead of
opinion
Night.
on
Okay.
where you think the direction of this trailer is going to go. All right.
Okay, so Goosebumps, Dead of Night. I already heard the commentator. He sounds kind of like goofy, spooky, right? Like a whole Count Dracula thing.
Classic Goosebumps.
Yeah, so I'm thinking that Goosebumps is going to play into the fact they're going to lean in to the fact that it's all a good bit of nostalgia, and I'm going to say that it's a board game. Like I literally have no idea of the genre, but it'd be fun if this was like a Clue style board game, right? And maybe you can play on different maps, and the different maps like represent different books, some of the most famous books, and maybe it's like a fun board game, like a Mario Party thing. That would be fun. If this was Mario Party using the Goosebumps IP, that would be dope.
That would be cool.
Am I even close?
Cool. No.
All right. Well, shit. All right. Let's play the trailer. Now I'm all hyped. I want to play like Mario Party Goosebumps, but it's not even close. All right. Let's check it out. Goosebumps.
A spooky adventure exclusively for consoles and PC.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
I hate to pop your bubble.
Fighting off killer bees. Hiding from monsters. Collecting pages.
Okay. Wait a minute. Have you ever heard of the game Illbleed?
No, I can't say that I have.
Okay, let me just. Okay.
Illbleed?
I'll show it later. I'm gonna play the trailer.
Okay.
But I have a feeling this is 100% an Illbleed ripoff. Illbleed is one of the cult classic games that come out of the Dreamcast era, and I swear to God, this is probably a reskin of Illbleed. It looks just as bad, and like Illbleed was made in like the early 2000s. So I want to keep playing. The fact that one of the things they have to offer is that you collect pages from dense books. they realize it's like 2020, right? We're trying to like.
Man.
All right.
They're just hitting. They're hitting so many different genres right now. They're like, it's like an amnesia game. It's like a puzzle game. It's like
I mean, let's check it out. We're 22.
Yeah.
We're 22 seconds in. Let's go. Goosebumps, Dead of Night. Let's do this.
And so much more.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay, you got a little. Yeah, a crafting system.
Yeah.
Solve a mystery.
Yeah.
Unlocking new levels and puzzles.
Get out now.
Robots.
Okay, wait a minute.
Gummy bears.
Wait a minute. I may have just turned around on this game. All right. Look at this Wolfman.
In what way? It sounded like you were.
Look at this
You were pretty
Wolfman.
into it before.
Look at this Wolfman. And look at him now lurching towards you. We have to. Okay, we're adults here, Eric. Right? We're adults. This doesn't spook me. This doesn't scare me.
Oh, okay.
But if your boy was 10 years old, if your boy was a young kid playing this on a Switch, I mean, I'd be pretty spooked.
Beaver swamp. You can't.
You know, like it's a little disturbing.
Okay. Would you be entertained though? Do you think you would have a good time?
No, not at all. This would be one of the dark phases of my childhood. I would probably like bring it up in the case to get like officially separated from my parents, right? You know, like the judge would be like, well,
Yeah.
why do you want to be an independent at the age of 14? He'd be like, well, Your Honor, I got to play Goosebumps Dead of Night as the only game in my life. And then you would show how you had to collect textbooks and you have to chase these little gnomes around a kitchen. It doesn't look very good. However, I will say it's a kid's game, right? Right? Is it a kid's game?
Is it? I don't know. Like, who's this supposed to be for? Are kids gonna like be like, yeah, I want to buy this, or are parents gonna be like, yeah, I'm gonna have my kid play this, or I don't know.
Popular
I don't know.
children's book series Goosebumps is getting a new first-person survivor horror video game. First-person survival
they say.
horror. Let's see the comments. Game looks like it's made the same year I read these books 12 years ago. PlayStation 2 is still putting out great games. The scariest thing about this game are the graphics.
Got 'em.
That has to be coming out on GameCube. Oh wait, this looks more like a VR game. I love Goosebumps, but this looks.
It does.
Oh, this is sad. Look, I love Goosebumps, but this looks bad. Smile. A sad face. He's actually laughing at this trailer. It looks like the budget was roughly the same price of a Happy Meal. I want it, but damn, that looks bad. Shoutouts to Santiago Carbonell. Damn, that looks bad. So first of all, I think.
All-
Yeah, Eric, please.
I mean,
What do you think?
All things considered, I mean, the like to dislike ratio could be worse, depending.
It could be
You know,
worse.
You see the comments; they're nothing but garbage. But there's still people liking this. I don't know if it's for the right reasons or the wrong reasons or whatever. But yeah, I just wanna point out that my favorite part of this whole trailer is
Yeah.
the first like 2 seconds. It's like baby's first
Wait.
After Effects project.
Goosebumps Dead of Night, a spooky adventure exclusively for console.
I will say
text?
that
Where'd that text
yeah.
come from?
I was just gonna say, do you see the way that the text? Whoop! That come on, you
Yeah.
could have done that smoother. Like they missed out like 8
No.
frames as it was coming
I'm telling
forward.
you, I had like an After Effects class, and this is something that I would just definitely put together. I'd get like the fog background.
It also
like,
doesn't look centered. There's so much room on
Yeah.
the right, and there's barely any room on the left. Like that's just real, right? Like I'm not. That just
Yeah,
looks.
I don't know. I have no idea what the story behind this is. You know, this developer getting the IP for Goosebumps, like. I don't
Dude,
know.
and that is a powerful IP. I have been trying to pitch the Goosebumps MMO that I developed 8 years ago for dude, trust me, man, this MMO would be sick. Imagine you just a random ghoul or goblin in the Goosebumps world trying to make it. Anyways,
Can I be a puppet? Can I be a?
oh, of course, but that's one of the
control
higher
crystal?
level classes. So like Puppet is just a subclass of the evil scarecrow. So once you get up to level 30 as an evil scarecrow, then you can choose between cursed, marionette, or puppet.
Ventriloquist dummy would definitely be like rogue class.
Yeah,
right?
for
Like,
sure.
You throw your voice and stuff.
Yeah,
Pretty good.
I would think a tank would just be probably the werewolf, right? You'd have your werewolves.
Yeah,
You'd have
probably,
your
yeah.
mummies. Your support classes would probably be your gnomes, probably garden gnomes. You'd play as 3 of them, right?
I can see like a mummy being like support class too. They got the bandages and stuff. you know?
Bandages is nice, but I'm thinking more like mummies as tank because they're like undying, right? Like they're always. But you're right.
yeah,
I
that's
think
true.
the mummy would be a self-preserving tank.
They could do like stuns and stuff.
So
Yeah, that'd be
that was a fun trailer. Thanks for showing us that. Now I want to show you
Oh,
guys
yeah.
a trailer of my own. This is Illbleed, and you know what? I just want to show it to y'all. That's it. No, just watch.
I'm behind on the stream, so what? Which Illbleed trailer are you playing?
Oh, you're behind the stream. This is just Illbleed trailer. Like that's it. It's like the only one on YouTube. Just look up Illbleed trailer.
By Matt Hawkins.
That's it. Matt Hawkins. Shout out to Matt
That's
Hawkins. You're doing the work that I wish I had the courage to do. Uploading the Illbleed trailer. I'm too spooked. I can't even look at it. Let's go Illbleed.
All right.
What is this?
Crazy
how it starts?
games.
It's just crazy game silently. This is. Okay, let's go. There we go. Whoa, what's this?
4 high school teenagers
like
received an invitation to the horror theme park.
Is this like a
Illbleed.
Twisted Metal kind of thing?
Oh, it's gonna explain itself.
Kind of like that vibe.
Oh, this music. Illbleed.
Eric Christie, Michelle Waters, Kevin Kurtzman.
This is so good. This is the greatest trailer. I didn't realize how good this trailer was.
Whoever can clear
I
all
can't
of
even
the
tell
stages
what
will
kind of
receive
game it is.
$100 million.
Is it
Whoa!
a game? Oh, there we go.
But under the guise of amusement lies a homicidal theme park.
Homicidal theme park. What's that, Woody?
So,
Got ghosts? Rocket ships. Got worms. Watch out. Oh, a lot of mouths opening. A lot of vomit in this game. Running theme here.
spewing.
This
So
game
I
is
still don't
metal.
understand. What do you do?
Escape
You
or
survive
die,
it. You just
Is it
survive
like a
it.
fighting game?
or get a one-way
What's with the
ticket
health
to
bars?
hell.
Why are they so big? It looks like an arcade game.
There you go. Fight back. Surgery. I mean, seriously, have you ever seen a trailer with this many different images and like what's going on?
There's a lot going on. Oh my god.
Challenge.
That happens. We're here.
What is his
happened?
true purpose? Only the survivor will experience the shocking ending.
Man, is this what killed the Dreamcast?
Nah, dude, this is what saved the Dreamcast. That's evil bread. I just want to let you know. That's evil bread. 1 minute 56. That's evil bread.
And who do you play as? I've seen like 13 different playable characters.
Well, first of all, there are many. There are many playable
Indiana
characters.
Jones, like Woody looking dude.
God, this game is so good. This is so good, man. He's in hell, by the way.
2001. Man.
I don't know, but I think I first played this when I was young, definitely maybe 14, 15. So,
But
I just want to say, like, a Goosebumps is a lame-ass version of Illbleed. I'm just saying right now. Illbleed is one of the strangest games I've ever played. It's definitely one of those cult classic type things. Like, it's like one of those games, like, if you know, then you know, right? Like, if you know about Illbleed, then you know about it.
So did you? You
Yeah.
played this game?
Oh, bro, I did more than just play this game. My entire
all
family
played this.
played this game.
Wow.
My
That
entire
answers that question.
we have I know more about Illbleed than I know about myself, right? Like if someone had to say like describe yourself or describe Illbleed the game, I would have more accuracy like describing Illbleed the game. Illbleed is so strange. So you play as a group of teenagers, right? And you have to survive this lethal like amusement park. But here's the thing. You have all of these health bars. You have like a sanity bar, you have a health bar, and you gotta balance getting your ass kicked or getting spooked. So certain characters have higher spook resistance and certain characters are tougher. And here's the thing, dude. The game is the most like meta game ever. Like the game is very aware that you're a gamer and you're trying to like play it. So there's all these really hilarious things you can do. You can make one of the characters brain dead because during this operation scene you cannot find his brain. So then for the rest of the game he literally is like speaking in tongues and like running into walls. It's just a goofy like bloody mess.
That'd be a pretty cool stupid mechanic where it's like a truth or dare kind of situation where you gotta choose to fight or to get spooked.
Yeah, and it's like the interesting thing too is there are parts of this game that legitimately as a kid gave me nightmares. Like what is this? And I think that's part of the scary thing. Like this game goes from 0 to 100 and then back to 0 with no sense of pacing, no sense of mood. It's really messed up.
I remember watching my cousin play Twisted Metal on the PS1 or something.
Yeah.
And those cutscenes gave me like nightmares.
Yeah.
Like so fucked up. Yeah.
So
I would also run out of the room. I had like this Carmen Sandiego PC game, and every
Yeah.
time that she like rappelled down this pyramid, I would run out of the room.
why? Because it made you scary.
Yeah, it was
scared?
very spooky.
I
don't know
was
what
that
it
same
It was like the
way.
music.
I was that same way with F-Zero for the Super Nintendo. Every time
Really?
F-Zero launched, it was so loud, it scared me. So I just ran outside the room, and then when it was over, I came back in and played with all of my sisters. But
Yeah.
the last thing I'll say about Illbleed, this game is the definition of like everything is out to kill you. Like, you know how sometimes bad games from like the 90s get that reputation of like they were just thinking of the most random enemies. This is evil bread. And here's just the context behind this bread. The whole game is like you're just walking around normal. If you look at this bread, it immediately is a jump scare. Like, it's the loudest, like violins happen, the camera is centered, and then something awful happens. This game is literally...
And what are you going to do? Not look at the bread?
Yeah,
Like,
this game is
that's just
literally
not cards.
a series...
Game development. Truly.
This game is literally a series of jump scares, and it's like the cheapest thrills you can make. So anyways, compare that to Goosebumps, Dead of Night, and now you can see where I'm getting at. Like, I think like whoever made this game, I can say that they were a fan of Illbleed, because so many of the mechanics seem like the same. Like, you know, this whole concept.
I'm watching a gameplay trailer right now. There's a sight meter, there's a hearing meter, there's a smell meter, and there's a sixth sense meter on top of the brain and the heart meters.
Yes. So the
Man,
brain and the heart is like, you know, your like sanity and then your health. But the sight and the smell, if you see that your smell meter's going up, then that's saying like, uh-oh, your character smells something like suspicious. So you got to be careful, because that means a spook's around. So now you're looking around. What is a smell-based spook? A smell-based spook, or as I like to call them, an SBS. What's a smell-based spook that's going to happen? Well, maybe it's there's a gas light on and it's oil. So you look at and now it bursts into flames. It's such a weird game.
Your characters just like shit their pants, like, oh,
yeah,
smell's going way up.
And there's like tons
way up.
of endings. There's tons of secret endings. There's like funny endings. Anyways, that's the last thing I'll say about Illbleed, but it's a great game.
I doubt that. It's the last thing you're gonna say.
This is the last thing I'll ever say about Illbleed.
This is the first time I've ever heard of this game, let alone you talk about it. So
I have so many obscure games of my childhood. I honestly, I think my dad had fun. I think my dad had fun finding the most obscure random games and saying, "Here, kids, play this," because he was such a gamer. My dad's like a hardcore gamer. So I think not only did the type of games that like interested my dad, they had to be like the opposite of mainstream, because he literally played all of them. So anyways, there's Illbleed, aka a Goosebumps light. I mean, here's Goosebumps, aka I'm Illbleed light. Last things you have to say about this spooktacular game before we move on to another. Here's my esports win, by the way. That's the next thing I'm going to talk about.
Illbleed?
No! Illbleed is not an esport. It should be, though. My esport win of this podcast is the Back to Warcraft is being able to stream these Warcraft tournaments on Twitch. So literally, this is the most obscure. No one cares about this but me, and I understand this. But I always want to give Blizzard their due when they do something right, because lately I've been talking smack on Blizzard a lot because they just seem to be getting things wrong when it comes to taking care of their community. However, this is a win. The Warcraft 3 community has been one of the most devoted and staple esports communities, right? There was once a point in which Warcraft 3 was the biggest esport in the world, right? And there was this huge tournament series called the Gold League that wasn't going to be able to be aired on Twitch because it was this exclusive thing with NetEase, and it was only going to be able to be streamed in China. And it was a devastating blow to the Back to Warcraft community and pretty much every single North American gamer that loves Warcraft 3. And it made no sense because Blizzard just put out Warcraft Reforged in like the last like 6 months or so,
Right.
and you're trying to like have this game, you know, be back, but now the biggest tournaments with like the biggest players, you like can't even watch it. So thankfully, Blizzard joined forces with Blizzard US, EU, and China, and they worked out a deal, and now the streams will be streamed on Twitch, and that means we can all watch it. So shout outs to you, Blizzard. You did something good. I like it.
Yeah. Nice.
And
yeah.
do you want to?
Sports fans.
Oh, the esports fails. I know exactly what that is.
What's it gonna be?
It's gotta be, and I'll just find it now. It's gotta be the Boston Uprising. It's gotta be the Boston Uprising's response to the Black Lives Matter. Yeah, like
Who
this.
responded to that? Was that like a player or like a GM or?
So you know, like first of all, I'm not here to try to criticize people trying to do the right thing, right? Like that is the one thing in which I think I differ from most people who are really shitting all over the Craft Foundry for doing this, right? Like, yeah, you can say that they've been hypocritical, and they have been, but it's better than nothing. The problem is, I believe, Huck. The problem is Huck really got in it. So he's the president of gaming at the Craft Group, and he really got in it in a bad way with a lot of Black Lives Matter supporters. And there was all of these things about him trying to show off the fact that Boston Uprising hired like black players, and it was pretty weak. It was pretty much the defense of, oh, well, I have a black friend, so I can't be racist, or I have a black friend, so there is no injustice going on here. And again, I'm not trying to say that he's racist. I don't think anyone deserves to have that label just thrown at them. I'm not trying to say that the Boston Uprising is this racist organization. But it was just so tone deaf, right? Like, esports,
like read the room, dude.
Yeah, right. And like esports PR already, and esports social media people already get so much flack for pretty much being tone deaf, for being hypocritical, for on one side saying that they support Pride Month, but on the same side, their Chinese social media and their Chinese things have like no evidence of it, right? Like that happens all the time in esports, and this could have been an opportunity to just listen. It could have been, like an opportunity to just listen to the criticism. You don't need to like defend yourself. You don't need to get so defensive about it, right? Like part of what I think a lot of the best responses to this is just a little bit of humility. I mean, you're the Craft family. You work for the Craft. Like you don't need to worry about money. You don't need to worry about job security in esports. You don't need to worry about having your voice be heard. So why don't you
run the biggest macaroni empire in the world?
Yeah. So why don't you? Yeah. So why not for once you just check yourself, man. So I thought that was definitely like an esports fail. Speaking,
I'm a Velveeta guy anyway. So
speaking of esports wins, I mean, while we're on the topic, I gotta give a shout out to my boy Radoslav, who wrote. He was just a really fantastic piece on VP esports about some of the hypocrisy that we've seen from like the game industry, right? So like he pretty much details it all here. I don't want to like spoil the article, so please check it out at VP esports. It's really fantastic. Oh, and definitely follow a GG Anidra. Radoslav Kolev. He's one man. This guy has been doing esports writing for a long time. So shout outs for him. I think this article needs to get more love. So shout outs to that. And with that, this has been, oh my God, episode 19 of the Ill Bleed podcast. I can't believe it.
That's what it is now, for sure.
I think that's going to be the image that I go with when I'm trying to Photoshop something great. I'm going to have Eric on the cover of Ill Bleed, the Dreamcast classic.
What is the cover of Ill Bleed?
That's a good
I'm
one.
Have to sign off on this first.
That's actually a pretty good one. Yeah. What is the Ill Bleed?
Like a crotch or something.
No, here it is. Look, it's the scary little.
Yeah. Okay.
This is gonna be good. You're like gonna be so spooky.
Have fun with that. It's gonna be a good one.
Oh my God. Yeah. Zoom in. Ill Bleed. Nice. All right. Well, with this beautiful,
Perfect.
well-produced
Yeah.
podcast image, that's the end of our show for today, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Shout-outs again to HyperX for always being such a fantastic sponsor. Shout-out also to E1, our newest partner in our quest to help esports fans engage with their favorite thing in the world, which is competitive gaming. So my name has been Nick D'Orazio. You can find me at Nick D'Orazio 3RD. You can find my colleague Eric at Winko Stainless. He got not a single stain on him. And I will see you guys next time for episode 20, which we have to do some sort of like anniversary thing, right?
Something big.
The big 2-0.
Bring back our a special guest.
Special
I know
guest?
everyone's been clamoring.
Burger boy. Burger boy. All right, we'll think
boy.
about it. Anyways, this has
It's
been
a well done boy.
the Inven Global Podcast. Thanks for listening, guys. See ya.